That's a really interesting point because I've brought this up to you before. I've brought this up to other strategists that after the midterm election, I mean, he was touted as he's the future, the face of the GOP. He could be the next president. The New York Post had this cover of him and his family looking extra presidential, calling him the future. Do you think because he leaned in super hard to the culture wars issues, that's where maybe he lost that support? And do you see him not embracing them anytime soon? Because he was embracing bathroom policies, amongst others, on the debate stage last night.
Brittany, what are people really looking for? Are they looking for ideology, or are they looking for competent and courageous leadership at the top? I'd argue very strongly it's the latter. It's never really been about ideology, I believe, in this primary. It's about who can take us there being not just the White House, but there back to a position of leadership, especially around the world. I think that is what people are looking for. And I don't think that's something that you get for being the poster child of the culture war. I think you get that by saying, I had a lot of difficult challenges in front of me. Here is how I met those challenges and overcame them, and here are the results of that. If people, there's a frustration in the country today that a lot of things aren't working, that nothing seems to be working right anymore. Show me somebody who can give you the confidence that they can make things work, make the trains run on time, as they say, and that person, I think, is well on their way to big things. And I don't think we've seen a lot of that, frankly, in the Republican primary. I don't think we've seen that a lot on either side of the fence in recent years, and people are hungry for it. Don't tell me you're a conservative and that's good enough. Tell me what you're going to do, and then also what you've already done. And DeSantis has done plenty. I think that's been drowned out a lot by his rush to become the ideological warrior.
Adam, we're heading into the holiday season, and we're also very close to Iowa, and that's when 2024 really, really kicks off. So what's on your radar? What are you looking out for within the next few weeks?
Well, everyone's going to be focused on Iowa. I'm more focused on New Hampshire. Iowa comes first, and it's a caucus and not a primary, as we know. And we'll have fun with that. But as I said earlier in this interview, if you look at the last three Republican winners in competitive caucuses, they've gone nowhere. And so I think it's more about what would Iowa do, Brittany, as a springboard or an influence on New Hampshire. New Hampshire, I do think, is significant. It's funny, very small state, not very diverse, and yet it has outsized influence on the process, I think, well beyond Iowa. And that, of course, leads right into Nevada, and shortly after that, South Carolina, where, again, unbelievably, Nikki Haley, as well as she's doing, is still 20 points or more behind the former president.
That brings an interesting point that I didn't think of. Do you think the candidates last night spent more time arguing with each other opposed to arguing about President Biden? Because something you didn't really hear too much on stage was that much about President Biden, and it was more about infighting. Do you think that's going to hurt them?
That's such a great observation. Absolutely. It doesn't help them, put it that way. Biden is the target ultimately for the Republican nominee. And you're right. You heard very little about that. Now, from the former president over the last couple weeks, you've heard almost nothing but that he's going square to square, toe to toe in the potential matchup with the former president. And you saw, of course, in recent polling, in the target states and swing states in America, right now, Trump has a lead over Joe Biden in every one of them, save for, I think it's Wisconsin, and that's like within the margin of error. So he is focused on the final prize. I think on the debate stage, they were all fighting that over a lesser prize, which is who amongst us stands tallest, but I don't think they're measuring high enough versus the former president to have put themselves squarely in a competitive position to take him on and perhaps defeat him among Republicans.
Adam, per usual, I love doing these post-debate recaps with you. It's always fun to break them down, provide insight, and just talk politics. Adam Goodman, thank you so much for joining me.
Always fun.